Hello and welcome to this video tutorial where we're going to have a look at site plans in Kubla Cubed. Site plans are useful for using just as reference if you're importing CAD data, make sure everything lines up correctly. But when you're doing a takeoff, they're essential as you need them to take off obviously your existing and proposed elevations. So we'd recommend whatever workflow you're using, it's always a good idea to start by importing a site plan. So to do that, you click on the plan and add image PDF. So Kubla Cubed supports a number of different image formats: PNG, JPEG, TIFF and bitmap, and also PDF obviously. So we're going to go through this tutorial with a PDF site plan, which we'll just take a look at Adobe Acrobat Reader. So this site plan is spread over 2 different pages. That's not ideal, but often you will, earthworks contractors will find that they get site plans that are spread across multiple different pages of a PDF file. It has a number of elements on the site plan to tell you the scale. It's got the scale guide down here, and each plan has actually got 2 marked points. Not all site plans will have that. They might just have a scale guide and 1 point, or they might sometimes have a document with a scale on it. But whatever features are marked on the plan, Kubla Cubed's got the tools to reference and scale it correctly. So we'll close that and go back into Kubla Cubed, and we'll walk through importing both of the pages and geolocating them so they stitch together. So you click on Plan, Add Image PDF, select the correct file, and for PDF files this window will pop up. If it's an image file like a JPEG, it will just go straight through to the editor, but for PDF files we have a little bit more information in regard to their size, and we also have to select the page that we want to import. So we'll do one page at a time, so we'll start with page 1. The scale of the document wasn't actually marked on it. Sometimes you'll have marked on the document that it's a 1 in 250 or 1 in 500, and because PDF documents contain a dimension, we can actually use that to calculate the initial scale. In this case, we're going to just leave it to the default scale because we don't know it, and we're going to have to use the scale tools to rescale it correctly. Whilst that's loading, we'll just take a look at the tools that you've got on the left hand side here. So to start with, you've got the name. Then you have the Move, Rotate and Scale tool, and the Crop. You've got the Align to 2 points tool, which does a move, rotate and scale all in one operation. We'll take a look at that later. You've also got tools in this panel for controlling the color and transparency of your site plan. So the most important thing that you have to do with any site plan is scale it correctly. And when you're doing this, it's really useful to use the built-in measure tool that you can activate by pressing and holding down the M key. So we'll do that here to measure what the current distance of this scale guide is. So we just hold down M and move it along, and we can see that currently measures 47.45. So that's, as we've just loaded in, it's just an arbitrary value that's been set. So it's not correct, so we've got to rescale this to 50. So we do that using the scale tool, and click scale here and click to begin, click to end, and enter in the correct value, which is 50. And the program will scale the site plan so it's correct. We'll use the measure tool again to make sure that that's happened correctly. So yeah, that's 50, so that's correct. The other thing about this site plan is it actually needs to be rotated as well, because it is being loaded in landscape, and it should be portrait. So we can use the rotate tool where you specify a north to rotate that correctly. Okay, so that's been scaled and rotated correctly. Finally, what we can do is move it so that it is in the right location. This isn't always necessary. Sometimes if you are just concerned about the scale of the site plan, you can skip the move step. You can skip the rotate step also. That would be in a situation where you were doing a takeoff. If you're using CAD data and you want the site plan to align exactly to the CAD data, then you'll need to make sure that it's positioned and rotated correctly also. Also in scenarios where you're stitching site plans together, they need to be positioned correctly so they align. If you don't have position information on the site plan, what you can do is set an arbitrary point to be the origin and just set that, move both site plans to have that point as 0, 0. So we'll just use the move tool here to move this to the correct location. It's a tiny bit awkward because we've rotated it, but we're going to have to read off these coordinates here and move this point to that position. So you just click on the point to move and enter it in. Okay, finally on this site plan, you'll notice that there is a default white mask color that's added to all site plans when they're first imported. This is to remove the white background. So just to demonstrate that, I'll remove that mask color to restore the white background. And it appears how it appears in Adobe Acrobat with a white background. You could choose to adjust the transparency and view it like that. And have it sort of semi-transparent in your main project, but usually mask colors are better for removing areas of the site plan that you don't want to see based on color and leaving just the line work. So we'll add the white mask color back. We'll also add an additional mask color to mask out this green area. Okay, so we'll just check that the site plan has been positioned correctly. We can do that by checking this other point that we know and making sure that that's reading correctly using the cursor, 189.704, 174497. So that's correct, and we can also use the measure tool once again on the scale guide to make sure the scale's correct. It's worth doing these checks before committing the site plan to a project. Okay, so now that we know that's correct, we'll click OK. Okay, so we'll add the second page of the PDF document in, following the same process. This time we are going to use a slightly different approach. We're going to use the Align to 2 points tool. And when you use the Align to 2 points tool, it does a move, rotate, and scale all in one operation. So if you do have 2 points on a site plan, it's always a good idea. It's a time saver to use that one rather than scaling, rotate, and moving separately. So we'll do that now. We'll click on the first point and type it in. And then click on the second point and enter that one. And then the computer will do the rest. So you can see that it's rotated it correctly, and we'll just check that it's scaled it also. That's correct. And so this one's ready to be committed into the project. And you can see it matches up. One additional tool that's quite useful is the crop tool. That allows you to crop out these areas that you don't really need in your project. So we'll go back into the site plans. The site plans now appear on this menu, the ones that we've imported. You can edit, delete and hide them individually. You can also move them up and down in the list, which has the effect of changing the order in which they're displayed. So we'll click to edit this one, and we'll draw a crop region around the area that we don't need, or the area that we need rather, and it will have the effect of cropping that out. So that we've done the second page. We'll just do the same with the first page. Okay, so finally we'll talk about the situation which isn't the case here, but that you sometimes get where you have two separate site plans. They're actually in the same location, they're overlaid on top of each other. One of them will show your existing contours or points, and the other one will show your proposed contours or points. That's a scenario that comes up quite frequently. So in that case, you would load both site plans in, geolocate them correctly so that they display on top of one another. And then you can use this menu here to hide or show the one that you need, and then you'd hide your proposed and do your existing takeoff, and you'd hide your existing and do your proposed takeoff. So now we have the site plan in the project, scaled, rotated and moved into the correct location. We're ready to start with the next stage, which is defining our existing terrain. So if you're working with CAD data, it should align exactly with the site plan, and if you're doing takeoff, you're ready to start drawing over the contour lines and points. We'll cover defining existing in another video. So that brings an end to this tutorial. I hope it was useful and showed that whatever your site plan drawings are defined in, whether it's a PDF or image, whether they're separated across different pages, or one layered over the top, that Kubla Cubed has got the tools you need to get started with that project. So leave any feedback or questions in the comments section, and we're always happy to answer any questions at support@kublasoftware.com.